Sometimes a woman smiles like everything is fine, but her eyes tell a different story. There's a depth in them, the kind that only comes from experiencing love too closely, too deeply. These are the signs that her romantic past wasn't simple, that life has shaped her in ways you can't see at first glance. She looks confident, but her heart stays guarded. There is a certain kind of woman whose presence immediately gives off an aura of confidence, a soft yet undeniable strength that feels almost magnetic. She carries herself in a way that makes people think she has everything figured out, as if nothing can break her, nothing can shake her, and nothing can reach the inner layers she keeps carefully hidden. But what people fail to notice is that this confidence is not loud. It is not showy. It is not the kind of confidence that screams strength. It is quiet, subtle, and deeply rooted in everything she has lived through. Her confidence is not born from an easy life, but forged from difficult moments, heartbreaks, disappointments, and the kind of emotional lessons that force a person to grow even when they don't want to. This is why she walks the way she does, with elegance, but also caution, with grace, but also distance, with warmth, but also a shield that never fully comes down. When she enters a room, she may look like the most composed person there, but inside her mind, she's constantly aware. She reads people quickly, almost instinctively, like someone who has been through enough to recognize patterns long before others see them. She pays attention to tone, body language, energy shifts, and the little things that most people overlook. She's learned that the smallest detail can reveal the most important truth, so she never lets those details slip by her. This awareness is why her confidence feels different from others. It's not the confidence of someone untouched by life. It's the confidence of someone who survived it. Because of her past, she does not let people close easily. She does not rush to trust. She does not rush to open up. She does not rush to show vulnerability. She moves slow when it comes to emotional closeness. She takes her time, not because she wants to play games or because she enjoys holding back, but because she has learned the cost of trusting too quickly. She knows what it feels like to give someone your heart only to watch them mishandle it. She knows what it feels like to rely on someone only to realize they were never truly there. She knows how painful it is to give pieces of yourself to someone who never deserved them. This is why her heart stays guarded. This is why her emotions stay protected. This is why, even when she likes someone, she doesn't show it immediately. People often misunderstand her. They think she's cold, detached, or uninterested, but they don't understand that restraint is her form of protection. She has been through enough to know that opening up is not something you do just because someone asks for it. Opening up is something you do when someone proves themselves worthy of it. She is not afraid of love. She is afraid of repeating a past she worked hard to heal from. So she takes small steps, careful ones, watching how someone treats her boundaries, watching whether they stay consistent, watching whether they speak with sincerity or with convenience. If someone is genuine, she slowly lets her guard soften, not break, but soften enough for real connection to grow. Her guardedness also shows in the way she reacts to affection. She appreciates it deeply, but she doesn't melt instantly. She needs time to believe that the affection is real, that it won't disappear, that it's not temporary or impulsive. She observes whether someone's affection remains the same on good days and on difficult days. This consistency matters more to her than big gestures or dramatic words. She prefers the kind of energy that stays steady, the kind of presence that remains calm, the kind of person who doesn't disappear at the first sign of difficulty. Because she has seen what inconsistency does to the heart, she chooses stability over intensity, sincerity over charm, and honesty over sweet talk. Another part of her guarded nature is the way she handles conflict. She doesn't explode, she doesn't panic, she doesn't beg, and she doesn't react emotionally. Instead, she becomes quiet. Her silence is not coldness. It is her mind working, her emotions checking themselves, her heart reminding her not to fall into old patterns. She has learned that reacting in the heat of emotion only leads to regret, misunderstanding, and unnecessary pain. So she holds herself back. She speaks when she is calm. She expresses herself when she has clarity. She chooses peace over chaos, even if her heart is shaking inside. Her confidence also comes from her independence. She knows how to stand on her own. She knows how to take care of herself. She knows how to rebuild when things fall apart. She has learned not to depend on anyone for her sense of worth or her sense of stability. Her strength doesn't mean she doesn't want connection. It simply means she doesn't collapse without it. She values love, but she doesn't let love be the only thing she depends on. Her guarded heart is not closed. It is selective, careful, and waiting for the right person to earn a place within it. She understands how relationships really work. There is something unmistakable about a woman who truly understands relationships. She doesn't walk into a connection blindly, and she doesn't let herself get lost in fantasies the way people with less experience often do. Her understanding comes from reality, not imagination. She has seen how people behave when they are in love, when they are unsure, when they are insecure, and when they start to drift away. She has watched the way emotions rise and fall, the way promises are made and broken, the way hearts change their rhythm depending on who holds them. This is why her view of relationships carries a gravity that feels different from others. She doesn't fall for superficial things because she knows that depth matters more than excitement, consistency matters more than charm, and actions matter more than poetic words. When she speaks about love, her tone has a calm maturity. It is the tone of someone who has learned that love alone is not enough. She knows that communication is not just talking. It is listening, understanding, and allowing another person to feel seen. She knows that respect is not just politeness. It is the freedom to be yourself without fear of judgment. She knows that affection is not just physical closeness. It is emotional presence, even when things are not easy. She understands these things not because she read them somewhere or because someone taught her, but because she lived through experiences that tested every part of her heart. She has learned that relationships are not supposed to be a battlefield. They are not supposed to be a place where you constantly fight to prove your worth or struggle to be understood. She has experienced what it feels like to stay in something that drains you more than it fills you. She has felt the exhaustion of trying to hold together something that is falling apart. She has held her breath trying to keep peace, only to realize that real peace never asks you to shrink yourself. These experiences carved wisdom into her, and now she enters relationships with that wisdom guiding her steps. Because of this, she is not easily impressed. She doesn't get carried away by sweet gestures or romantic lines that others might fall for. She listens for truth instead of charm. She looks for intention instead of intensity. She notices whether someone respects boundaries, whether they show consistency, whether they communicate with honesty when it matters. She has learned that real love does not need to be loud, dramatic, or unpredictable. Real love is steady, stable, and sincere. It is felt in the small, genuine moments, not just the big, glamorous ones. She also understands red flags in a way that many people don't. She notices the little shifts, when someone's tone changes, when their attention starts slipping, when their excuses multiply, when their behavior no longer matches their words. She doesn't ignore these things the way she might have in the past. She doesn't convince herself that things will magically get better. Her experience has taught her that ignoring red flags only leads to deeper pain. Now she sees them for what they are. She doesn't overreact, but she doesn't dismiss them either. She pays attention, quietly, calmly, and with a level of clarity that's almost impossible to shake. Her understanding of relationships also shows in the way she communicates. She doesn't fight dirty, she doesn't hold grudges, and she doesn't play emotional games. She speaks directly, she says what she feels, but she says it with control. She knows that communication is not about winning, it is about understanding each other. She understands that arguments happen, misunderstandings happen, and emotional moments happen, but how two people handle them matters more than the conflict itself. She values emotional maturity, not emotional chaos. Another thing that sets her apart is her balance. She knows how to give without losing herself. She knows how to care without suffocating. She knows how to love without forgetting her own needs. She understands that a relationship should not be a place where you disappear. It should be a place where you grow. She has been in situations where she gave too much or loved too deeply without receiving the same in return. And those experiences taught her the importance of balance. Now she knows that relationships thrive when both people show up fully, not when one person carries all the weight. She also understands the importance of space. She doesn't cling, she doesn't panic when someone needs time, and she doesn't create pressure. She respects individuality because she knows that two people with their own dreams, their own growth, and their own strength create a healthier connection than two people trying to merge into one. She understands that space does not mean distance, and independence does not mean disconnection. It means trust, maturity, and the freedom to breathe within the relationship. Her understanding also shows in the way she chooses a partner. She doesn't chase potential, she looks for alignment. She doesn't get carried away by temporary excitement, she looks for long-term energy. She doesn't believe in forced connections. She believes in natural, effortless, honest bonds that feel right without needing to be pushed. Her choices reflect her understanding, her growth, and everything life has taught her about love, loss, healing, and connection. She moves on fast, but not because she doesn't feel anything. There is a quiet mystery in the way she lets go, a calmness that confuses people who don't understand her depth. To some, it seems like she walks away too easily, like her heart is untouched, like nothing affects her the way it affects others. But the truth is far more complex than it appears. She doesn't move on fast because she lacks emotion. She moves on fast because she has learned through experience how dangerous it is to stay attached to something that is breaking her from the inside. She has felt the weight of holding on too long before. She has lived the pain of waiting for someone to change, hoping for someone to return, believing in a future that never arrived. Those memories shaped her. They taught her that staying too long in the wrong place is far more painful than leaving early. For her, moving on is not a sign of emotional emptiness. It is a sign of emotional intelligence. She understands her heart in a way only someone who has been deeply broken can. She knows when something is no longer healthy, no longer growing, no longer giving her the peace she needs. She doesn't justify mistreatment, she doesn't cling to potential, and she doesn't romanticize the memories that hurt her. She recognizes when someone has stopped choosing her, even if they don't say it aloud. She feels the shift in energy, the distance in tone, the absence in effort. She doesn't wait for a grand breakup or a dramatic ending. She slips away silently, respectfully, with dignity, because her heart has already accepted the truth long before she takes the step. People often misjudge her silence, thinking she is unbothered, thinking she is cold, thinking she never cared. But they don't know that she processes everything internally. She feels every emotion intensely, but she feels it alone, quietly, without creating noise. She doesn't scream, she doesn't accuse, she doesn't try to prove her hurt. She believes that pain does not need an audience. She believes that healing does not need applause. She stays composed on the outside because she refuses to let temporary emotions dictate her actions. She has learned the importance of emotional control, not because she is numb, but because she has seen how acting out of pain only creates more pain. Her ability to move on quickly also comes from her understanding of self-worth. She knows what she brings to a connection. She knows how deeply she can love, how honestly she can give, how wholeheartedly she can care. She does not see herself as someone easily replaceable, and that awareness gives her the strength to walk away when she is not valued. She doesn't beg for attention, she doesn't chase validation, and she doesn't force someone to love her the way she loves them. She believes that real connection never needs to be begged for, and only someone who truly sees her will stay without needing to be convinced. This belief is not arrogance, it is the self-respect she had to build from the ruins of past heartbreaks. Another reason she moves on fast is because she has learned to separate attachment from identity. She doesn't let relationships define her. She doesn't lose herself in someone else's world. She doesn't make another person the center of her existence. She has her own dreams, her own purpose, her own life outside of love. She knows how to stand alone. She knows how to rebuild when things fall apart. She knows that her happiness is not tied to anyone's presence, and her peace is not dependent on someone staying. This independence, this emotional maturity, empowers her to walk away without collapsing. She moves on fast because she understands that not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people are lessons, some are reminders, and some are stepping stones toward a better version of yourself. She doesn't hold grudges, she doesn't replay conversations endlessly in her mind, and she doesn't try to figure out what went wrong for too long. She accepts life for what it is, not for what she wishes it to be. Acceptance comes naturally to her because resisting pain is something she has learned never works. When she leaves, she doesn't close her heart forever. She doesn't turn bitter. She doesn't punish the next person for what the last one did. She heals quietly, deeply, at her own pace, and by the time she truly moves on, she carries no anger, she carries understanding, she carries growth, she carries clarity. She moves forward because she refuses to look backward at places that broke her. She moves forward because she knows the right person won't make her question her worth. She moves forward because she has learned that letting go is not losing. It is choosing herself first, and that is something she has promised never to compromise again.